is Jenna and today I'm here doing another book verse movie. The book I'm going to be comparing to its film is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I think one of the cool things about this though is that Stephen Chbosky was actually in charge of the movie as well. It's not often that you get to see an author adapt their own novel into a film, so that definitely played a part in what I thought of both of these, but all in all I have to say I much preferred the book to the movie. This is going to be a spoiler-free discussion video, so if you haven't yet read the book or seen the film, don't worry, you can stay for the entire duration of this video without fear of being spoiled. So first up, let's talk about the book of Perks of Being a Wallflower, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars to. One of the things that I love most about this book was the characters. We really got to see each and every one of the characters, even though the story was told in a letter format, so it was always Charlie talking to us as his friend, and that of course meant that we didn't really get to see any events happen in real time. It was more Charlie telling us what had happened, but I still felt like I was there. I felt like I was really immersed in the novel, and I felt like I really knew each and every one of these characters, and I really felt like I got to know each and every one of these characters and really got invested in their storylines, and that's something that I think the book did really, really well. One thing that I really loved about this book though is no matter how dark and bleak everything got, Stephen Chbosky still managed to make it that things were hopeful and that there was going to be a light on at the end of the tunnel. Not sure how he managed that, because some of the things that happen to these characters is heartbreaking and just awful and bleak, and just you don't know how they're going to come back from it, and then somehow they do, or at least you get the feeling that they're going to. And I think that's something really important in a book like this, especially when dealing with such heavy subject matter, is that you need to sort of show the light that there is going to be hope for these characters, and you know, it's something that people who are reading this book who might be sympathizing with Charlie or understanding what he's going through, they can sort of look to the future themselves and see, oh, light, happiness, that sort of thing. So I think that's really important, and I think that's something that this book did really, really, really well. One of the interesting things that I found about this book is that we actually didn't find out the names of some of the characters. So one character in particular, or 2 characters in particular, Charlie's brother and sister, I don't think we ever actually found out the names of his brother and sister. He always just called him my sister, my brother. Somehow their stories were incredibly important, and they were important in not just shaping their own stories, but also in shaping Charlie's and shaping the way that Charlie thought about the world and how he interacted with his family. And I think that's something really special, not something that we see a lot in young adult fiction, is that family aspect. So I think that's something that I was really, really into, and I loved it in the book. Charlie himself was an incredibly fascinating character, and I adored the mental illness aspect. I think that it was portrayed so well in the book. It's not really until the very end of the book that we kind of really realize what happened to Charlie and why he's the way that he is, but when you find out, it's oh my god, it's heartbreaking. But basically, yeah, I loved Charlie. I think he was an incredibly well-rounded, well thought out character, and I loved reading from his point of view. Moving on to the movie. Now the movie I saw before I read the book, so I did the wrong thing. I watched the movie first, then I read the book. But let's be real here, I watched the movie because Emma Watson's in it, and I love Emma Watson, but oh my god, she cannot do an American accent. She just can't. She really can't. I'd probably give this film maybe a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I think that it's done a really good job of adapting the novel, and I think it's done a really good job of showing Charlie and showing his friends and sort of showing their lives and everything that they're going through. The film is very well shot, it's got well-rounded characters, it's got a really good plot, and it's something that is a lot of fun that you can watch while also being heartbreaking at the same time. And just, I don't really know how to talk about the movie subjectively without talking about the book as well, so I think we're just going to move straight on to the differences that I found between the two. So one of the big differences that I found between the book and the movie is the absence of Charlie's family in the film. So Charlie's family, they're still in the movie, and his sister's still there, his brother, all of that sort of stuff, but they're not as present as they are in the novel, and I think that's a real shame, because one of the biggest things to happen in the book, something happens to Charlie's sister and she goes to him for help, and that doesn't happen in the movie, and I felt like it was a real missed opportunity, because that was really the moment where the two of them started to reconcile their relationship and all that sort of thing. So I'm quite disappointed that that storyline didn't make it into the movie, because I think that it's a very important one that I would have liked to have seen played out on the big screen. Another thing that I find really different between the two is obviously the fact that in the book we are completely reading from Charlie's perspective, so we only ever get to see things through his lens. Obviously in the movie we're still seeing things mostly through his lens, but it's not quite as immersive, so we're not constantly thinking about everything that Charlie is thinking of, especially with his mental state. So I think that the audience is still able to figure out who Charlie is and everything through the film, but I feel like they are missing out on really getting to know Charlie and really immersing in his life and in his story, because they're not reading from his point of view, and I think that's kind of a missed opportunity for people who just watch the film and don't read the book. There are other differences as well, but I don't want to go into them because they kind of go into spoiler territory, but pretty much I think that considering the author was the one who did the film, obviously he chose to cut out certain things for sake of time and narrative flow and that sort of thing, but I do think that some of the stuff that he cut out, in particular the family side of things, it does kind of take away from the overall experience, and it also means that watching the film you have a very different experience from reading the book. I still think that for both of them I was still able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, that sort of thing, but I feel like with the book I got more immersed into the story and I really felt like I was on this journey with the characters, when in the film I felt like I was watching the characters have this journey. If I was going to choose between the book and the film, I would honestly probably choose the book, just because I think that you get so much more immersed into Charlie's story. You really get to hold his hand and walk with him, whereas in the film, while it's still good and while I do love it and I love, you know, the actors that are in it and everything, I feel like it's not as immersive, and I feel like if you want to fully get the story of Perks of Being a Wallflower, then you just have to read the book. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below if you have read the book or watched the film or done both, and let me know which one you prefer. I would absolutely love to know. If you like this video, be sure to give it a huge thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing. Stay random. Bye.